So when I think about website management, I think about the domain name, but it's the domain name, it's your website hosting, and it's oftentimes your email hosting if you have your name at yourbrand.com. And so it's important to clarify the difference between these three layers and understand how to manage these three layers to ensure that you don't forget where your website is hosted and then where your domain is purchased, because this can create a lot of complexity into your business when you're trying to solve a problem and things are going crazy. So we're going to dive into the breakdown between these three and talk about how you can better manage the logins and the location of these things, and even pick a better platform for website management depending on your business type. So buckle up. We've got a juicy episode here, and I'm excited to talk about it. So I've been using this graphic to try and explain how you think about yourself online overall. And I've broken it out into a couple different areas because people talk about your website presence, your domain kind of interchangeably. But I made this chart to try to better explain the how it works and explain some of the players that are in the game. I did not list all of them because that would take a long time, but I wanted to at least go through a couple of examples just to kind of get you thinking about how you're managing it. And I'm going to share a little bit more on like how you can manage this going forward. So let's talk about the domain side of things. This is your website. So I have basebuilderlabs.com. That's our website. And this is managed through a domain service. Most of these companies, GoDaddy, Wix, Squarespace, you name them, have a domain management service. They also have website hosting services. And the reason I'm going over them like this is just to explain like they're all kind of in cahoots together depending on who you buy from, but it is important to separate out like who's doing your domain, who's doing your website, and who's doing your email. The website hosting is like you're paying Wix to have your website online. You can pay for your domain and you can have a domain, but like you pay for the actual hosting of that website separately. And then your email hosting is like the how do you send an email? So it's like you're able to send an email to serenabasebuilderlabs.com and I receive it. And that service I pay for through Gmail. These are all separate entities and they're all part of your broader web presence. So as you're thinking about laying that out, this is this is kind of how to think about it. And next I'm going to talk about after you have these laid out more clearly in your head, how to manage these. And this is a tech stack sheet that I use for myself, for clients, and it's just a simple Google Sheet or Excel that you can use to document where these things are located. And I'm going to update mine because I wasn't managing them in this chart in this way. So we're going to jump over to that template. So I use this tech stack audit template when I make significant changes into the amount of software tools that I'm using. So if I'm switching from, let's say, QuickBooks to tracking in Excel, I'll go into this template and kind of adjust some things. But when it comes down to website management, so we talked about Google Workspace and its function. I called it collaboration, but it's actually my email service. And so I can manage that here, and that creates a whole new category. And then for my website, at the time when I was doing this, this was my website hosting. So you can put this in here. And then where's my domain? I actually don't have my domain out here. I use something called Namecheap because I love Namecheap. I'll never switch. So I'm going to put this here. Well, this is the basebuilderlabs.com. And then this is the domain service. So I use this to manage everything. This is the template, so this is not even mine anymore. So you can use this and adjust it. I'm going to share a link out for this so you're able to download it. But I use this template just because it keeps everything straight. And oftentimes you can, if you have a lot going on, especially if you own multiple domains, it's hard to remember like where you stored them. So this is a really nice handy trick to be able to showcase where you stored things. So hopefully this is helpful for managing your overall online presence. It's definitely a task because the more complicated the digital world gets, the more complicated it is to manage that presence. So as you're planning on managing, give yourself time, give yourself grace, and make time for it. If you want to talk about how to make time for it, we have a video on calendar management that rivals some time management elements that you should definitely check out, and I'll link into the description. So thanks for listening, and hope this was helpful.